knew, he told me that it's not treatable. I knew that the chances of survival are low and all of those things. That part wasn't that difficult to accept because somehow I don't know, I believe that ऐसा कुछ होने ही नहीं वाला है, मेरी लाइफ बहुत लंबी है. He confirmed and he said that it is not TB, it is cystic circus in your brain. And I think that time a lot of things changed for me because the only instruction given to me was,
That feeling
yeah,
itself must be scary, right? Ki, oh my God, what is this? I am doing this. I am achieving this. But यहाँ तो मेरी life के ही अते पते नहीं है, right?
this episode of my life gave me a visual proof, I would say, which, like how people say that you cannot see your subconscious, you cannot see your emotions, you cannot see your thoughts. I saw them. One thing that I think I'm thankful for and grateful for is my doctor, because I think he was my biggest accomplice and friend at that time. And one day I remember when I broke down in front of him, he held my hand and he just said that, you're so young and you are such an inspiration for everybody here, that we recite your story and narrate it to other people and say that this is such a young girl who's fighting this case and treating it as if nothing has happened to her. She's going to office, she's doing everything naturally, and you know, and thankfully, maybe this is the reason why my body treated it on its own. So after a couple of years, the cystic circus, whatever that little creature that was sitting in my brain, calcified, and that disease came to an end. At IIT, because it comes from such a high repute, that the acceptance and the mind channel just opened up. It was unburdened from the pressure of proving myself to somebody that what I am capable of. The importance and the focus that we put on the marks and the success in academics, right? That how much you learn and how much you are able to answer in that examination. Life is so much more and beyond.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we have another fabulous guest, Mrinal Pareek. She is an ICF certified coach with 16 years of experience, specializes in leadership development, emphasizes coaching for mind-fit transformation. Her niche evolves, aiding high-performance executive in balancing career growth through mental fitness with strong passion for women in leadership. And she is an amazing person by heart. I personally like her aura, her vibes. So let's welcome Mrinal Pareek. Hello, Mrinal. Welcome to my channel. I'm glad to have you here. Uh, uh, it's my pleasure to have you here. Thank you for taking out your valuable time from your busy schedule. And I would like to know a brief about your journey. Can you please share a brief about your journey to my audience?
Oh, absolutely. Thank you so much, Anita, for inviting me over to your podcast. You're doing a phenomenal work, inspiring people, sharing stories, and that's, I think, we all humans are built on. Thank you for having me here. And I hope today I can share a piece of mine, a piece of my journey with your audience that can support them in their own success journeys. Uh, so, you've already said a lot, I think. My journey is just getting started, and I have been a very academic person, to say so. I've educated myself into different institutions, degrees, and all of those things, and then I entered the corporate world where my real life journey started, and I got to understand the people side of the affairs of the business. And that's when I got attracted towards the world of coaching. I left my corporate world where I was doing all the technology and consulting assignments, and thought of, entering and exploring the world of people in business and understanding what goes into their mind and how can people reach their fullest potential even when they are embarking their technology journeys. And there started my journey of supporting people become their best versions, best leaders, not just for people around, for organizations around, but more than that, to start with, for themselves. And all of this has come through my own experiences of living life through various different stages, that there's a lot more importance that needs to be put into how our thoughts shape, how our emotions are, which unfortunately we do not get the real understanding and flavor of in the mainstream education. So I think through my body of work, what I am trying to do is support people in their own success journeys by staying connected with themselves, understanding the inside that supports their and builds their success journeys, not just focusing on the academia that earlier even I thought was the only thing that contributes to success. So beyond and everything that life encompasses is what shapes our lives. And this is what I'm doing, and I love what I do.
Awesome, awesome. So can you just share your experience? What was it before, like Mrinal before that and Mrinal after acquiring this knowledge? What difference has it made in your life?
Um, But I think I don't know if I can absolutely demarcate a before and after, but what I can definitely say is that there is a lot more awareness with respect to understanding the different flavors and different dimensions that contribute to a person's growth, development, experiences. So it just doesn't belong to the academic learning. It is the whole person that you become. And to just help you understand that, let me bring my example of the IIT days. I think when I uh, got myself admitted to the esteemed institute, Indian Institute of Roorkee, at that point in time, it was more me wanting to prove myself to everybody around that, I am good at academics and I can crack a top institute and get myself a seat there. After IIT, what changed was the experiences, the life that I got to live inside the institute. um, I understood that it isn't just the academia. It is so much more and beyond. It's how you interact with people. It's about the experiences that you are collecting. It's about how you are contributing to your environment and how you are letting your environment contribute to you. Both of these have been, I think, the phenomenal transformations. And if I may say that this was the foundation of me expanding my purview beyond the academics. At IIT, because it comes from such a high repute that, the acceptance and the mind channel just opened up. It was unburdened from the pressure of proving myself to somebody that, what I am capable of. And there I was living my life. And when that started happening, a lot of it changed. A lot of it transformed into becoming of a person rather than becoming of an academician or becoming of a person wanting to prove her merit through percentiles and percentages or ranks or achievements. So that was the step one of unlearning that, life has so much more than just the marks that you get enrolled on in that mark sheet or the passing certificate. So that, I think, was a big transformation in my life that set the foundation for everything that followed.
Okay, okay. So you are saying that like how we were raised previously was just marks, get a job, and you are all settled, and that's it. Uske आगे we were not taught how to deal with this life, जो प्रॉब्लम्स लाइफ थ्रो करती है हम पे ऊपर, उन चैलेंजेस से कैसे हम डील करें, दैट वाज नॉट कवर्ड इन our academic education, right? So that knowledge, if we had that time, it would have been like a different life for us, right? That's what I feel.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think what I'm pointing at is the importance and the focus that we put on the marks and the success in academics, right? That how much you learn and how much you are able to answer in that examination. Life is so much more and beyond.
You are absolutely right that life is way beyond that marks. There are a hell lot of things that we need to learn, even in the corporate or even in our real life. So I have a teenage daughter, so I always suggest her ki don't just run behind the marks. Learn these skills also. Go out, hang out with your friends, and basically extra curricular चीजों में participate करो so that you grow overall and not just academically, because
Right.
later
And
it.
if I may add a point here, it is that learning and fetching marks are two different things. And that I learned there. Until then, I thought that if I am getting a 90%, I am learning, you know. But I understood a very stark difference that when you are learning and when you are getting marks, they might be two very different worlds of existence.
Correct. And you were having such a fabulous career, right? So what made you shift to life coaching and all?
So, like I said, the foundation was laid in perhaps the IIT days. I mean, the moment I stepped out of my comfort zone, stepped into the world of hostel and, living on your own, living by yourself, managing all the challenges on your own, and also making a lot of decisions on your own. I think when you leave that cushion behind, when you step out of your house, I think that was the step one, and then followed multiple steps of learning and unlearning. So one learning is that marks and learning are two different things. The second that happened was in the corporate world, uh, where perhaps the initial understanding was performance, reports, deliverables, analysis, excellence, and things like that. Again, I think it was another hamster wheel that I climbed on of proving that, what I can create, what results I can churn out, how much revenue I can generate, and things like that, right? Learning just doesn't come from top down, it also comes from bottom up. And when I started learning and opening up about those dimensions, which were again beyond the performance hamster wheel, they were the real world of people, that everybody who is performing and reaching that position, reaching that excellence, is a person first. And when I saw the people side of uh, affairs, that's, I think, where the seeds for coaching got planted. That, what it takes for a person to perform at a certain level at one instance, and what happens to the same person that they are getting compromised or they're not living up to their own expectations on another side. What happens when you are a reporting person, and what changes when people are reporting into you. I think I started observing all of those things somewhere, because maybe innately I am a people person, and uh, people connections drive me a lot. So in the corporate also, when I was working, all of these things were bigger driving force for me. Who I'm working with, what kind of camaraderie I'm sharing, and how the exchange of learning is happening between the two people. So I was observing, learning all of these things, and at the same time unlearning a lot of those fixative thoughts that I entered the corporate world with. So that was the second step, and I think the third foundation that happened was when I got married, and you know a new sense of belonging started to happening. That life isn't just about hopping from one goal to another, but it is also about living and creating a balance around what you want from life of sorts. And when that happened, a lot of what do you say, a lot of paradoxes got answered, and I think a lot of bubbles got burst at that point in time. What I was, I think, exploring was, how do I fill my purpose by continuing to live a full life and not feeling limited. And
Oh,
that's when I entered the, stepped out of the world of corporate, being on a job role where everybody is speaking highly of me, and stepping out and then kind of exploring and understanding what is it that I really want to contribute. And then all the pieces of puzzles, I would say, started coming together. And back in that time, I didn't even know the term coaching. I mean, that might sound surprising to many people, but I didn't even know the term coaching. I only knew that to become a whole person in the world of whatever you are doing, not just the corporates, but wherever you are, family setup or corporate world, performing, teaching, whatever you are doing in that world, in order for you to feel fulfilled, there are more elements that need to be considered, which perhaps I was trying to understand myself and find an answer to. The journey started, and on the journey, I understood that there is a world of coaching, right? So the journey started of supporting people in becoming their best selves. And then I learned that there is a industry, there is a method around it, and that's called coaching. And then I, the academic person inside me kind of got activated and kind of inspired me to pursue the education in the coaching space and do what I'm doing today.
awesome, awesome. So you are an inspiration out to many that whatever you desire, you can do it. Like even switching corporate is easy if you are passionate about what you really want to do, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if the term is easy, but it's possible.
Huh, right. Possible. Okay. And in middle, you came across a life-threatening disease, and I would like to know a little more about it. That how was the phase for you? How did you came out of it? Because it was like you mentioned that it was like the one which will like take away you as a soul only. Like you, it might like happen, it might end up like that. So that feeling
Yeah.
itself must be scary, right? Ki, oh my god, what is this? I am doing this, I am achieving this, but यहाँ तो मेरी लाइफ के ही अते पते नहीं है, right?
True that. लाइफ
Yeah.
के ये पते नहीं थे.
So what mindset you had and how you came out of it?
Sure. So just to give a perspective to people who might not understand what that life-threatening disease you're talking about. So 1 year into my corporate journey, and even I think the 1 year was not over. And it so happened that I had a child, like a genetic thing that happens is migraine problem had passed on to me, like many other Asian women. So I used to get on and off migraine attacks, and in one such migraine attack, I met a neurologist, and he diagnosed and confirmed that yes, it is a migraine attack, and you are getting these headaches because of migraine. I took his medicine and came back home happily that yes, yes, it's migraine. And cut to, I only remember fainting and reaching his chamber again in an unconscious state, where I was in the MRI machine getting diagnosed for I don't know what random thing, which only after 2 days of diagnosis was identified that I had a cystic circus uh, cyst in my brain. And it was not one, there were three cysts in my brain. And um, back then there was no known cure. So the doctors were, still kind of figuring out what this was, why the girl fainted, and they identified that it can be cystic circus. And the doctor, I remember when I got conscious after 3 4 days, the doctor only told me that pray that it is not cystic circus because there is no known treatment for that, and just pray that it is some form of tuberculosis in your brain and all of those things. And I think at that time I did not understand much of what he was trying to tell me. And I was, like any other person, I was also aware that okay, TB is bad and you have to take long medications. And I was like, why is he saying me pray that you are infected by TB? Right? It was such a confusing state of affair. But it eventually turned out after months of steroidal treatments, when the swelling went down, he confirmed, and he said that it is not TB, it is cystic circus in your brain. And I think that time a lot of things changed for me, because the only instruction given to me was that there will come a point when we would be taking you to OT. It would be a bad, severe pain. You would not be able to bear it. Just give me a call or tell everybody around you, this is my number, that you need to be taken in an emergency situation to doctor, and you need to be operated. So I think hearing that, that is the message I took. And I stepped out of the hospital and I told all my colleagues that, see, this is the situation. And if I ever faint again, take me to emergency, because I think at that point I might have to be operated. And that is the message that I internalized also. I told myself that if I ever feel a severe headache, I don't have to discount it believing that it is a headache or a migraine attack. I have to call my doctor without thinking about the time and just tell him that this is what it is. So I think that was the mindset that I was running on. And more than, I think that wasn't that difficult. Uh, because I knew he told me that this is not treatable. I knew that the chances of survival are low and all of those things. That part wasn't that difficult to accept, because somehow I don't know, I believe that ऐसा कुछ होने ही नहीं वाला है, मेरी लाइफ बहुत लंबी है. So वो
That
पार्ट
that
मेरे लिए
that
उतना
mindset
डिफिकल्ट
is
नहीं
so
था.
much needed.
Yeah, I don't know from where it came. I cannot put my finger to it, but maybe, like as child, there was a joke around that, somewhere in my hand there is a lifeline which is very long, and you cannot die before that, kind of a thing. I think I took that joke a little too seriously, and that helped me at that point in time. And I very I remember that point very vividly. I telling everybody, don't worry about anything. मरने तो मैं नहीं वाली हूँ. ये मुझे पक्का है. So
I'm like glad that that thought uh, was grabbed by your subconscious mind कि I have a long lifeline. And
yeah.
I know the power of subconscious mind कि how it is so much more powerful than our conscious mind. And we are like when you were saying कि मैं like this, I was simply getting goosebumps कि thank God you had that mindset कि आप उससे मतलब उसे see, mindset plays an important role. So that must have helped you to come out of that disease, right?
Right. I think I was not, I was never at the border of quitting. Right. I was like, whatever my doctor is going to say, I'm going to follow it to the T. And I am not quitting. Right. Come what may, I'm not quitting. That's who I am. And that's, I think, was very categorically on the front line at that point in time. So that happened. But like I said, that entering into that mindset that this is not the end of line for you, was not that difficult. What was more difficult was to sustain that long period, because I think that continued for almost like 3 years. 3 long years on steroids. Your body reshapes. There are a lot more side effects of steroids on you. Sometimes you will notice that my pronunciation of some words kind of suddenly changes. Like, it's not that I don't know the pronunciation of that word, but I would pronounce it wrongly, right? And that is something that I will know only in the hindsight. Like, after saying the word, I would know that, oh, I have said it wrong. Or I will forget, like, without any clue. What is it that I will forget? I don't know, but I will forget something. Absolutely on a blank. Like, हम लोग jokingly बोलते कि यार उम्र हो गई है and all of that thing. But I know that is coming from the effects of all those drugs that I have taken during those 30 years, because that's when this was very severe. I would forget everything, like so many things. The only thing I would not forget is the project that I'm working on and the deliverables that I have to kind of give.
That shows
Otherwise, I
your
would,
passion for work.
yeah. Otherwise, I would, no, it wasn't passion. Maybe it was a different side of the brain that was getting impacted. I would forget the keys in my vehicles. I would forget spellings, like things that need to be learned. I couldn't do math at that time. Mathematics would scare me to the T. I could not understand the time factor. So if you put me in a competitive exam at that point, that was tough. I wouldn't be able to do those kind of things. So there were identified things that I had kind of identified, because soon after that diagnosis, or somewhere in the middle of that, I was writing CAT. And I could understand something is happening to me, and that's different from my usual sense. So those things were difficult. What was difficult to look into the mirror and see yourself as a different person, because you were not recognizable. Like, I was not recognizable at that, to my, you know, to even my own eyes. Forget about people. What was difficult was the disorientation that I was living in, because steroids come with a default side effect that you will have mood swings. Sometimes bouts of depression also might come, right? So that was difficult, because I was not, that's not my natural sense, obviously, right? So when I was experiencing all of those mental ups and downs, and without knowing, I would just kind of start crying for no reason and things like that. And that level of feeling helplessness was new to me. That felt difficult. um and I remember I would not say that to many of my friends or people around me, because like I said, I was disoriented. I did not know whom to approach for what. One thing that I think I'm thankful for and grateful for is my doctor, because I think he was my biggest accomplice and friend at that time, that my mind has had internalized, and I would just kind of go to him and blurt out everything in my bi-monthly meetings. And at one point, I think I was meeting him every week. I was required to meet him every week, and that was my venting out time. I would sit there in front of him, say whatever I'm feeling, whatever random thoughts I was getting about how I'm looking, or how my body is shaping, or how I'm not sleeping, how I am always running like a horse, or everything that I would get a thought of. Because at the back of my mind, there was one more message that was playing very strongly, which was, the doctor said that, see, this is the situation, so be it. We have two options. We either surrender to, I mean, that's not his language, of course, my language, but I remember his message this way, that we might even, either we surrender to this situation and say that, okay, whatever will shape. I am going to continue living my life till the time it is continuing at this pace. And so I would say, don't leave your job, continue on your job, because you don't have to feel yourself as any less. So that was one part of it. Another part was indulge in the illness, let it overpower you, make you feel that oh ultimately तो मरना ही है तो क्यों मेहनत करना है या क्यों कुछ भी करना है, go relax it and sleep at home kind of a thing. And I think I chose the first one. My family was very supportive. Of course, I did not divulge all these details to them that, this is what the doctor is saying, because had I done that, obviously, being a protective family, they would not want me to live in that danger. So
And the
I,
parent would not let you leave.
right. So I actually selectively curated the information that I would let out to them. And I also, I think at that time played this trick that, Mama, Papa, I have to be kind of, in close proximity to the doctor because I have to go for checkup every week. And it is so important that, ठीक है, I'll continue the job. Problem kya hi hai? Right. So that way they were convinced that, oh, yeah. So they would visit me. They would keep a check on me by multiple calls, through multiple calls. But I somehow very, intelligently, I would say, kind of surpassed that thing that, leaving of job. Same thing, I think my managers and everybody were very supportive. Everybody at office was very supportive. We soon entered the recession time, 2008. And I think everybody was very, very, what do you say? On reality terms. I mean, nobody was making my illness as an excuse or anything, right? Somewhere, yes, I was also performing, but they were also very honest in their conduct and in their support. I mean, I remember that I used to carry a box of medicines because I had to take multiple medicines at multiple, times and schedules. So they would look at that medicine box and kind of, at the beginning, would curiously inquire. But after, I think a week or so, everybody started treating me normally. And that helped a lot. Not getting people's sympathy, not getting people's differential treatment was a great help because I could also feel myself as a normal person and perform like a normal person. Although I gave them that message the doctor asked me to, that, take her to, bring her to me if the need be. So all people in my proximity knew that his number was there with all of them. And I told them that this is what you need to do if any emergency comes. Otherwise, I'm a normal person in front of you, like I was, and we'll keep rocking it kind of thing. And that is how it, I
Wow,
think,
Mrinal,
continued for,
how did you do that?
I
इतना
think,
casually आप बोल रहे हो, like I just can't imagine also myself in that situation.
and I'm glad that I took it casually. Had I chosen the second option that the doctor kind of exposed me to, it would have been more difficult, you know, because he said that very clearly that see this is what it is, and he told me because I come from biotechnology field, he would show me the MRI screens and he would sit with me for 1 hour and explain me what's going on in your head and क्या हो रहा है कैसा दिख रहा है everything he would show me. But he was also very honest. He very gently supported me, but with all honesty. And he said that what it was. And at I remember the first couple of meetings, my friends would accompany me, to show their concern and protection. But that thing cannot continue for years, right? So there came a point after a couple of weeks when I had to go all by myself. And one day I remember when I broke down in front of him, he held my hand and he just said that, you're so young and you are such an inspiration for everybody here, that we recite your story and narrate it to other people and say that this is such a young girl who's fighting this case and treating it as if nothing has happened to her. She's going to office, she's doing everything naturally, and you know, and thankfully, maybe this is the reason why my body treated it on its own. So after a couple of years, the cystic circus, whatever that little creature that was sitting in my brain, calcified, and that disease came to an end. So, like you said, that mindset is so much important. So is our own energy. The
Hmm.
belief that we can heal, and the belief that there is so much more to us than that illness. I think that continued, and I couldn't have done this all by myself had it not been for the, you know, for the unspoken support that people offered me at that time by letting me be me, normal. Nobody made me feel special.
Huh.
I think that was important. I mean, on the hindsight, sometimes I feel that nobody cared. But I think that itself was such a blessing that nobody cared. Nobody actually made me feel special. Everybody was so busy that helped me stay busy in my own job and work. The same thing happened with the doctor. I think, barring that one incident, he never made me feel that I am, you know, I'm doing something off special. He always made me, uh, treated me normally. And that helped. My family let me be me. That helped. Everybody would call me like they would. That helped. So, no special treatment at all. And I think that just let me be my normal version. Knowing that, yes, there can be an emergency situation was parked at everyone's back of mind. But nobody let that run on the forefront. And I think that was such a blessing. And m- maybe the universe was conspiring me to heal sooner than expected, and that's what happened. I would say, touch wood, that it happened that way.
Awesome. Matlab, the way you are narrating, I can feel that you really took it like casually, normally. Otherwise, uh, if some emotions were attached, वो आपकी voice में reflect हो जाता right now when you are narrating it, right?
Yeah, and let me also admit that it wasn't easy. I
Hmm.
don't want to appear a hero in front of everybody. I just want to tell people that it was difficult. And what was more difficult was this exact blessing that I'm saying, that people treated me normally. That was difficult at that time, because I
हाँ.
thought that nobody is caring, nobody is worried about my illness, right? And I thought that everybody is taking me for granted.
Hmm. Hmm.
But that wasn't the case. Whenever there was a need, there was somebody.
Yeah.
I wasn't left alone that way.
Hmm.
Yes, there were days that were lonely because I would not have somebody to hold my hand, cry, crib, that kind of thing, because I was in that mood swing stage. But whenever the real need was there, you know, like I'm stuck in so after one of the MRI sessions, I had a major headache that I couldn't walk past the MRI chamber. So I called a friend, and he was like, in 5 minutes, he was there at the hospital. And he said that, why do you have to go all alone? Why do you have to prove yourself that you are such a hero person? And I was like, no, that's not the reason I did it. I did it because it was office hours. And he was like, you shut up, you sit, I'll leave you home. And, you know, so everybody was there, right? I mean, they were just a call away, that you need us, you let us know, kind of a thing. But nobody was pampering me per se. And sometimes that part kind of felt bad and made me feel lonely. But in the hindsight, as I think of it, I think that gave me a lot of opportunity to stay normal. Because
Hmm.
had it been pampering, I might have lost the ground, maybe. I don't know. But whatever happens, happens for the good, I think.
Yeah, yeah. Today only I read it that the uni जब वो चीजें होती है हमारे साथ, when the things are happening, we think that why it's happening with me, मुझे मेरे साथ क्यों हो रहा है? But after some time when we look back, oh yeah, it was there to like support me only. Everything was working for me and not against me.
Right. And I think that was the time that actually made me really get connected with myself, with all the disorientation and everything being there. But I was very connected with myself. And that was the time also I learned a lot about that not everybody is as close to you as you deem them to be, right? So that also, that difference of understanding that how relationships are so different. also I think that wisdom also prevailed during that time, that who are, like in the casual world we say that you'll know in your darkest of phases who your real friends are. I would say that it's not about real friends or fake friends. I think friends are friends. But that period told me that who is available to give what, kind of a thing, right?
And what was like जब आपको पता चला okay the disease has gone and now Mrinal is back, so what was your thought at that point of time कि now what all Mrinal can do?
Well, it didn't happen like that. Like it wasn't an on-off switch per se. Like I said, it was a journey of a 3 year, journey 3 year long. And I remember the tail side of it, which lasted for one whole year. After 2 years, when the calcification came out in my MRI, so there was some 6, 7 MRIs that I went, and the last MRI showed that the cyst had calcified. After that, it took one whole year to get me off drugs, basically off medication, because you just cannot pull out of steroids like that. So there was a down curve that happened, and then there were some support medicines that were given to me uh, to kind of subside the pain that might get triggered, or all the maintenance kind of things, right? My liver was definitely damaged because of those 30 tablets a day that I was taking. So to kind of bring me out of that holistically, there were some, recovery meds that I was still on. So it took that last 1 year was more of that recovery phase. The effects of those drugs, the memory loss, which was temporary as per doctors, all of those also were taking turns, like gradually started come down, right? Like it wouldn't be that I'm forgetful all the time, but it will just kind of peak some days, go down certain other days. At that point, I think through those recovery times, the only thing that I was thinking was, like I said, that I lived my life normally. And thank God that an emergency never occurred, right? So I would say it was just me living a normal life and doing my thing. This one fine day, I just called it off, that now no more meds for me. I'm going to live it on my own terms. And I think that's when I took one step further of uh, improving my mental strength and uh, recovery journey. I started doing more programmed workouts through gym trainers. I took professional help there. I joined certain programs for my mind's progress, right? Like meditation and those kind of things. I started learning those things. I started reading more to add more learning to my, current system. I enrolled myself for more education, right? That was the time I enrolled myself for the IIM Calcutta Executive Program. I did that. Of course, clearing that and getting myself admitted and then doing that 1 year course kept me busy and fulfilled. That was like re-emphasizing phase of my life when I was telling myself that I could do anything. That was 2010, 2011 period. I was telling myself that, whatever it is that uh, I haven't been able to do doesn't mean that I cannot do,
Hmm. Hmm.
kind of thing. The cat that I could not write doesn't mean that I would never be able to do anything with the IIMs.
Hmm.
I can do something else. I was still not in that space of being able to write the cat or prepare for my cat examination with that much of pressure, because it somewhere kind of triggered certain other things. So I didn't want to pressurize myself as much, but do it in my own capacity, pace, whatever I could. And so that happened, that journey happened. I was performing very well with all my awards coming. excellence award, performance awards coming my way from the corporate world. And I was doing my best with people, in my team, uh, the account that we were handling, the client expansion that we were doing, all of that kind of started working. Actually, not started working, but it was gradually happening. And with every infusion of knowledge that I was doing, I think I just allowed myself to contribute more and in a better way. I started enjoying with that disorientation kind of fading away. I think I allowed myself to enjoy more, you know, sometimes go to parties, dance, do all those things that I wasn't able to do during disorientation. Not because I didn't want to, but I was somehow not able to. Right, so I honored that phase and kind of came back to this new phase and started connecting back with myself the way I was originally, without any impact of side effects of medicines. And that's it. Like, I think graduated from IIM, then shifted my job, became head of the life sciences IP in this other organization, set up the processes because it was a comparatively a newer version there, and did what I would otherwise be doing, right? But yeah, I mean that mental off balancing that was happening because of the meds. Once that was off, I think I started connecting back to the life's processes more. And 2012, I got married, right? That is when I started feeling things again, more more organically, right, than anything else. And it just was a normal transition. Like I said, I think I didn't take it very seriously, and I don't want to take it seriously also. I only want to see it as a phase of my life that shaped me for better,
Hmm.
wiser, and stronger.
That's what I
That's
was
what I
going to ask you ki what did those 3 years add value in the Mrinal that you are today?
feel. A lot, actually. Like I said, that with all that disorientation, also, I was very focused. The
Hmm.
one focus that I carried with myself was I will listen to the medical advice that is being given to me, and I would do one thing with focus which is not in my control, and that's my job, right? I have to perform there. I mean, that's something that I cannot let loose. So I would make notes. I knew that I can forget. So earlier, if I would bank on my memory, I started making notes of things. I started using reminders and calendars for things. Um, I um, I started telling people, like, somebody, if they are coming with me from the parking lot, I would tell them, can you please just poke me to check the keys that I'm leaving behind, because I might do that, right? So, I just kind of channelized the resources as well as help that I could elicit from people around. I think that's what I did, right?
Yeah, that shows
Uh,
the resourcefulness of yours during that period. That how
yeah,
you managed being resourceful and not just sit at crib and cry that I don't know, मैं भूल जा रही हूँ या मुझे पता नहीं रह रहा है. You made the whatever that you could have done. You made that proact. You took that proactive steps, right?
right. And if I can point my finger to one thing, I think I took my doctor's words like a holy grail. Like, he whatever he is saying is a God's commandment, right? I'm a very strong-headed person who would not just take advices for the heck of taking advices. And that was a very different me then. Because I knew my resources are not working properly. My brain is not working very absolute properly. So it's good that I kind of bank on whatever the doctor is saying. And if he says that this is what you need to do to not gain weight, I better do it. Kind of,
Hmm.
right? So it was like I was more a robo, I would say, a robo with no emotions at that time. And I I lived like that. But thanks to a lot of friends around at that time, right? Some who just sat and talked to me, some who would just say yes to anything that I would say, right? I'm feeling like shopping. Would you come with me? And they would like, okay, because you asked, they'll come with you, kind of thing, right? So those things actually stayed with me, right? And till today, I think those are the learnings that sometimes you are not the best person to decide. Take the advice from somebody who knows better. Uh, People will behave differently in different circumstances and situations. That doesn't necessarily define them. That only says that what they are capable of doing in that moment. So not necessarily all those friends who didn't support me at that point or weren't very available doesn't mean that they didn't care or they were not nice people. It perhaps just means that in their capacity it wasn't possible, right? For those who helped in their capacity, it was possible and they were willing to do that for me. I meant so much more to them, and they would always stay very dear, you know. Doesn't matter how often we talk, doesn't matter how distant we have become or whatever, but th- that will not fade away from the memory. That is always going to be there, who stood by me. And it happens after, sometimes I'll get call from some of those friends, or I would call them after years of not speaking and just saying that, hey, how are you doing? And we would like just connect back at the same frequency. Like that's a very big lesson that I learned from this. And the third thing is that life's ups and downs are going to keep happening, and that's a big one that I think I still keep reminding myself whenever my chips are down, that see, you face that, right? And you made a comeback. There is no bigger comeback like that. And wherever you are, you will make a comeback. So wherever I feel stuck, wherever I feel that, this is not working, I just try to remind myself, connect back to those moments and say that it's possible, you know. This is not going to last for life. You have a
Awesome.
long life, remember,
Awesome. So,
right?
what last final piece of advice would you like to give to people who are actually going through some of like this phase where they don't have control over their body, they don't have control over their emotions, but still you would say that मैंने अगर कर लिया है तो तुम ही कर लोगे.
Only advice to everyone that be true to yourself. And in order to be true to yourself, you need to first know yourself. What is it that matters to you? What is it that you value? What are your strengths more than anything? What is it that you need to embrace to grow? All of these awareness need to be installed in your system for you to be able to even take actions towards the growth or betterment of yourself, your organization, people around you, your family, or your nation at large. So that connection is very, very important. And this episode of my life gave me a visual proof, I would say, which, like how people say that you cannot see your subconscious, you cannot see your emotions, you cannot see your thoughts. I saw them. I literally saw them. And I literally saw them, uh, you know, impact this way and that way. And so this entire invisible um part of our being and existence is so important for our becoming, right? Whosoever we want to become, whatever we want to do in our life, these things are playing role. You agree or you disagree? They are playing a role. The sooner you accept that and start working on that, the better it would be. And you don't have to take yourself so seriously. You know, you're just a mere dot on that, in that universe, and that dot even not visible, right? So you play your part by being whole and complete in your own self, and you will be doing great. That assurance is what matters.
Wow, beautifully summed up what we can do for our own self. And I think that applies not only to the people who are suffering through such a problem, but everyone who wants to grow in their life, that be true to your own self. That is like
Absolutely.
that those are the roots. You with connecting with your emotions, thoughts, those are like your roots. You cannot succeed till those foundations are like strong.
Absolutely.
So
Leave behind roots and plant the tree. Possible? No.
गिरना ही है उसको तो.
Absolutely.
So thank you so much, Mrinal, for sharing such amazing your journey. I was like hooked throughout the interview. What you are saying, each and every word was so much. It has taught me so much to learn from this interview, and I hope the audience here also benefited. So, guys, I would like to request you to hit the subscribe button and hit likes for Mrinal and share your takeaways, that what did you learn from this interview? What inspired you from this interview? And see you with some other guest at some other time. Thank you. Thank you so much, Mrinal, for sharing your story on my channel.
Thank you so much, and it has been a pleasure. And keep doing the awesome work that you are doing, Anita, bringing out stories and inspiring people through stories. I think you're doing a great job, a great service to mankind and society. Keep up the good work, and I'm honored to be on your podcast to make whatever little contribution I could by sharing my journey. Thank you for having me over, and best wishes. Signing off.
Thank you. Thank you for your blessings and wishes, and thank you for your time. Bye, guys. Bye, Mrinal.